Once your library decides to use curbside pickup functionality in Evergreen, you will need to enable the feature and configure it for use. This is primarily done through the Library Settings editor. There are 4 new library settings related to curbside pickup. Let's take a look at these options within the staff interface. To access the Library Settings editor, go to Administration, Local Administration, and in the center of the screen, you'll see Library Settings Editor. The Library Settings Editor is scoped by org unit, either your library, your system, or your consortium. These settings can be searched. If you search the term curb or curbside, it will quickly bring up the relevant settings. These settings can be configured at the consortium, system, or branch level. If your library is part of a larger system or consortium, that means that some libraries can choose to turn on curbside pickup and others can choose not to use it. To turn on curbside pickup, identify the setting called Enable Curbside Pickup Functionality at Library. Set this to True to enable curbside pickup. To do that, you would click on Edit, make sure the context is set to the appropriate org unit, set the value to True, and click Update Setting. When that is done, in the circulation menu, at the very bottom, you'll see a new option for curbside pickup, and that will be where you can access the staff interface for curbside pickup. When Enable Curbside Pickup functionality at Library is set to True, the default behavior is that patrons will now have the option to schedule a curbside pickup appointment in their OPAC account. So if you've turned on curbside pickup and set this to True, your patrons by default will see the option to schedule those curbside pickup appointments in their OPAC account. So the next thing to consider is whether that is the functionality that you want at your library. If you want to configure the system so that patrons must contact the library to schedule a pickup appointment, and only library staff members can actually create those appointments within Evergreen, then you will want to use the setting called Disable Patron Modification of Curbside Appointments in Public Catalog. So you would click Edit and set this to True for the appropriate org unit context, and that will disable patrons' ability to both create and modify curbside appointments from their OPAC account. They can still view their curbside pickup appointment times and information that they've scheduled via a staff member, but they will not be able to make changes there. There are 2 other library settings here that involve configuring the pickup appointment time slots. The curbside pickup appointment time frame corresponds to the hours of operation that are configured for your library. The hours of operation for your library are configured under Administration, Server Administration, and the Organizational Units interface. Here you'll find your library's hours of operation. Currently, Evergreen does not look at the Close Dates editor to control the pickup appointment times. Back in the Library Settings editor, we have a setting called Time Interval Between Curbside Appointments. This allows you to configure the length of time and spacing between the curbside pickup appointment time slots. For example, if this is set to 15 minutes, as it is, pickup appointment time slots will be created every 15 minutes during the hours my library is set to be open in those hours of operation. So if my library opens at 10 a.m., the first appointment time of the day will be at 10, the next appointment slot will be 10:15, then 10:30, 10:45, and so on. Available time slots will not include the time that your library closes. So for example, if your library is set to close at 6 p.m. and your curbside pickup time slots are 15 minutes long, the last available pickup time will be 5:45 p.m. Now, to help control the number of patrons who can schedule a pickup appointment time for the same time slot, there is a library setting called maximum number of patrons that may select a particular curbside pickup time. So for this setting, you want to enter in the maximum number of appointments per time slot, and this will vary depending upon your library's resources and staffing. Now, to look at some of these settings in use, here we have the Curbside Pickup Staff interface, and we're looking at the Schedule Pickup tab. So this is the interface staff would use to create a new pickup appointment on behalf of a patron. Here we can see the appointment date, and when we look at the time options for the appointment, we see the 15-minute increments starting at 8 a.m. So here, the time interval between curbside appointments is set to 15 minutes, and my library opens, in this case at 8 a.m. The setting called maximum number of patrons that may select a particular curbside pickup time is set to 10. So here we see for each time slot on this day, we have 10 available pickup slots for our patrons. As curbside pickup appointments are scheduled, you'll see that number available start to tick down, so you can see how many appointments are actually still available during that time. We'll cover the entire workflow of scheduling a curbside pickup appointment in the following videos.